Has basketball's throne been usurped? The NBA's establishment is imploding after former player Rashad McCants dropped a nuclear truth bomb. Caitlin Clark is the face of the NBA, not the WNBA. The NBA itself. This shocking declaration comes while LeBron battles media critics over his legacy, creating the perfect storm of controversy. WNBA veterans are absolutely livid, and the basketball world may never be the same. We'll say right now, Caitlin Clark, she's the most popular player in the NBA or WNBA in basketball. Okay, I think Adam Silver knew that. That's why he tried to get her involved with the All-Star Weekend. And people have said, well, why didn't she do it to grow women's sports? Why? I mean, let's be honest, the NBA wanted her there to make them look better. I mean, her ratings, for the most part, outdraw all the games the NBA plays these days. The basketball landscape is shifting before our eyes, and not everyone is happy about it. When former NBA player Rashad McCants boldly proclaimed that the face of the NBA is Caitlin Clark, it sent shockwaves through both leagues. This wasn't just another hot take. It was a direct challenge to the established order of basketball royalty. What makes this declaration so explosive is the timing. It landed right in the middle of LeBron James' very public dispute with media personalities, particularly Stephen A. Smith. The King has been vocal about his frustration with what he perceives as relentless criticism from basketball commentators, even going so far as to claim that media members are actively undermining his legacy. The drama started when Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards admitted he doesn't want the crown of being the NBA's face. LeBron quickly jumped in, agreeing with Edwards' reasoning and taking a swipe at what he called the relentless criticism from media members who cover the league. This didn't sit well with ESPN's Stephen A. Smith, who fired back with a 5-minute rant. First of all, there's a whole bunch of players that cover the league. They're former players. Smith argued on First Take. They're not just reporters. They're former big-time players, former Hall of Fame players. They talk about the league too. Is everything negative? Smith went further, suggesting that LeBron wasn't just targeting random media members but specifically aimed his comments at prominent figures like himself and the inside the NBA crew. The debate quickly escalated, with both sides digging in their heels, and that's when McCants dropped his bombshell. The face of the NBA is Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I said it. McCants wrote on social media, she has handled criticism better than the people you consider the greatest of all time. He didn't stop there, adding at Caitlin Clark 22, you're the GOAT. This isn't just casual praise. It's a fundamental repositioning of basketball's power dynamics. McCants, drafted 14th overall in 2005, essentially suggested that Clark's ability to handle criticism with grace elevates her above LeBron James in terms of being basketball's standard bearer. The timing couldn't be more perfect, or more inflammatory, depending on your perspective. LeBron, engaged in a public spat about how unfairly he believes he's treated by media, is essentially being told that a WNBA rookie handles the spotlight better than he does. It's a direct shot at his reputation and legacy. What's particularly fascinating about this situation is how it highlights the dramatic contrast in how these two stars handle media pressure. LeBron, despite being a 20-year veteran with 4 championships, still seems bothered by criticism. Clark, meanwhile, has faced an unprecedented level of scrutiny in her first professional season, yet maintains a calm, focused demeanor that's winning over fans across both leagues. The numbers back up Clark's meteoric rise in popularity. Ticket prices for her games have reached absurd heights, with the average resale ticket for some preseason games exceeding $700. There's simply no equivalent surge of interest in the NBA right now. Not even for LeBron's Lakers games. This popularity gap has become impossible to ignore. Even NBA Commissioner Adam Silver recognized it when he attempted to get Clark involved in NBA All-Star Weekend activities. As one commentator put it, her ratings for the most part outdraw all the games the NBA plays these days. Let's be real, the reaction to McCants' statement has been predictably divided. Clark's supporters have rallied around the sentiment, arguing that her impact on basketball culture transcends gender divisions. One fan commented, Caitlin Clark is the face because she captured people's imagination. The truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Critics, however, were quick to dismiss the claim as attention-seeking. Come on, you're 40. There's people that's going to be mad it's not Jason Tatum, and I'm a Celtics fan, wrote one commenter. He's not the face of the league. Let's stop that crap. What makes this situation particularly explosive is how it intersects with the already tense relationship between Clark and many WNBA veterans. Throughout her rookie season, Clark has faced what many perceive as unfair criticism from established players and commentators in women's basketball, the WNBA legacy media. All they did was criticize Caitlin Clark last year, and she handled it like a champ, noted one observer. She never missed a beat at all. She never went after fans or anything like that. Some point to figures like Cheryl Swoops, who has been particularly vocal in her criticism of Clark. Cheryl Swoops criticized all over Caitlin Clark all year. She had a podcast that had the W's logo on it. One commenter pointed out, "What are we talking about? The tension has been visible even in official coverage. I would sit back and I'd listen to these pre-game shows and then halftime with ESPNW commentators on there. They couldn't stand Caitlin Clark. It oozed from their pores," said one analyst. When they put out their rankings, they'd have her rookie rankings. She would be like 4th. And I'm like, are you mentally serious? There was a blatant agenda last year against Caitlin. This perceived double standard in treatment is precisely what makes McCant's comments so powerful. By explicitly stating that Clark handles criticism better than supposed GOATs like LeBron, he's highlighting not just her talent but her character and professional demeanor. It's worth noting that no one is claiming Clark has surpassed the greatest players in basketball history in terms of achievement. As one commentator clarified, now is she greater than Michael Jordan? No, and she won't ever be to my knowledge. The same commentator placed Jordan in rarefied air. Only Tom Brady has an argument to be put there with Michael Jordan as the greatest athlete to ever live. Maybe Muhammad Ali, but that's it. It's a three-person table. He acknowledged that Wayne Gretzky and Tiger Woods might also belong in that conversation, but the discussion isn't about all-time greatness, it's about who currently serves as the face of basketball, the player who generates the most interest, draws the most eyeballs, and represents the sport to the broader public. And in that specific context, Clark's case is remarkably strong. We're talking as it stands today. Who is the face of the W or the NBA? Posed one analyst. Adam Silver knew, I need Caitlin Clark in this All-Star weekend. Our ratings are putrid. The interest is putrid in the entire weekend. It sucks. Who's the one person that can draw the most eyeballs and get the most people fired up that can dribble right now? It's Caitlin Clark. This is where the conversation gets particularly uncomfortable for the NBA establishment. Basketball has always maintained clear gender divisions, with the NBA positioned as the Premier League and the WNBA as its sister organization, but Clark's popularity threatens to upend that hierarchy. When a WNBA rookie generates more excitement, more ticket sales, and more media attention than established NBA superstars, it challenges fundamental assumptions about the basketball business model. More pointedly, it raises questions about whether players like LeBron have damaged their own popularity through non-basketball activities. I think 2020 was the most damaging year for LeBron James. 2021 as well, just because of some of the political stuff, argued one commentator, referring to LeBron's increased political activism. It really hurt LeBron's popularity. The same analyst contrasted LeBron's peak popularity after winning a championship with Cleveland to his current standing. Do I think you can necessarily say something like this after LeBron had won the title with the Cleveland Cavaliers? No. I think LeBron's popularity was at an all-time high right after he won that title with the Cavs. This gets at the heart of why McCant's statement hit such a nerve. It's not just about comparing Clark and LeBron as players, it's about acknowledging a fundamental shift in basketball's cultural relevance. Clark has become a phenomenon that transcends traditional basketball fandom, bringing in new audiences and generating unprecedented interest. The NBA finds itself in an unusual position, potentially needing the star power of a WNBA player to boost its own cultural relevance. As one commentator bluntly put it, the NBA's popularity might come back if they ever bring back actual defense, hand checking, get rid of load management, and get LeBron and Adam Silver the F out of the league. Then the NBA can heal. This sentiment reflects growing frustration among traditional basketball fans who feel the NBA has lost its way, both in terms of playing style and cultural positioning. Clark, meanwhile, represents a return to fundamental basketball values, skill, work ethic, and letting your game speak for itself. Some have described Clark as the hybrid love child of Steph Curry and Larry Bird with the marketing and branding power of Michael Jordan. This combination of old-school fundamentals, new-school shooting range, and universal appeal makes her uniquely positioned to capture the imagination of basketball fans across generations. What's most remarkable about Clark's rise is that it's happened despite what many perceive as institutional resistance. Rather than being anointed as the face of women's basketball, she's faced skepticism and often harsh criticism from within the WNBA community. Yet she's overcome those obstacles through sheer performance and authentic connection with fans. This ability to rise above criticism is precisely what McCants highlighted in his comparison to LeBron. While James, with all his accomplishments and resources, still finds himself engaged in public feuds with media figures, Clark maintains a steady focus on her game and team, despite facing far more obstacles as a rookie in a league that hasn't always embraced her. The irony is palpable. A player in what's traditionally been seen as the lesser league demonstrating more grace under pressure than the self-proclaimed king of the NBA. It's a narrative that resonates deeply with fans who value resilience, humility, and letting your performance do the talking. McCants' statement is especially powerful because it transcends the usual comparisons between male and female athletes. He's not arguing that Clark is a better basketball player than LeBron in terms of physical dominance or even accomplishments. Instead, he's focusing on what truly makes someone the face of a sport: their ability to connect with fans, handle adversity, and represent the game with dignity. This represents a significant evolution in how we discuss athletes across gender lines. Rather than the tired debates about whether a female athlete could compete with male counterparts, the conversation has shifted to recognizing that a female athlete might better exemplify the values and qualities we want to see in our sports heroes. The timing of this declaration is particularly significant given the NBA's ongoing struggles with viewership and cultural relevance. The league has faced criticism for moving away from its physical, defensive-minded roots toward a style of play dominated by three-point shooting and offensive showcases. Simultaneously, the prevalence of load management has frustrated fans who pay premium prices only to see star players sitting out games. Against this backdrop, Clark represents something refreshingly authentic. She plays every game with maximum effort, showcases fundamental skills alongside spectacular shooting range, and maintains a team-first mentality despite her individual stardom. These qualities harken back to an earlier era of basketball that many fans miss desperately. LeBron's public irritation with media criticism also strikes many as tone-deaf given the unprecedented adulation he's received throughout his career. As one commentator noted, when LeBron got woke, they put him in more than just the bubble in Orlando or wherever it was. They put him in a protective bubble from that moment on, covering his ass at every turn. The stark contrast between LeBron's apparent sensitivity to criticism and Clark's grace under pressure makes McCants' comparison all the more compelling. If being the face of a sport requires not just excellence but exemplary conduct under scrutiny, Clark has made a strong case for herself in a remarkably short time. What's equally fascinating is how this debate exposes the artificial boundaries we've placed around men's and women's sports. The traditional assumption has been that the men's game represents the pinnacle of basketball, with the women's game existing as a separate, lesser category. But what if that framework no longer holds? If a WNBA player generates more excitement, exemplifies basketball values more effectively, and connects with fans more authentically than any current NBA star, doesn't that challenge our entire conception of what makes someone the face of the sport? This isn't just about television ratings or ticket sales, though Clark is dominating in those metrics as well. It's about who best represents what basketball means to fans and the broader culture, and increasingly, that person appears to be Caitlin Clark. For the WNBA, this moment represents both an opportunity and a challenge. Clark's popularity should theoretically lift the entire league, bringing unprecedented attention and resources to women's basketball, yet the apparent resentment from some established figures threatens to create unnecessary division at precisely the moment when unity would be most beneficial. The league office would be wise to embrace Clark's star power while simultaneously highlighting how she's part of a rich tradition of women's basketball excellence. The goal should be to use her popularity as a gateway to introduce new fans to other WNBA stars, past and present, rather than positioning her as an anomalous talent isolated from the league's history. For the NBA, the implications are perhaps even more profound. If a WNBA rookie can generate more excitement than established NBA superstars, it suggests serious problems with how the men's league has evolved. Rather than dismissing McCants' claim as hyperbole, NBA leadership would be better served examining what aspects of Clark's appeal might be replicable within their own product. As basketball continues to globalize and evolve, perhaps the artificial separation between men's and women's versions of the sport will increasingly break down, not in terms of on-court competition, but in how fans engage with and value different expressions of basketball excellence. What's abundantly clear is that Caitlin Clark has forever altered the conversation around basketball stardom, whether or not one agrees with McCants' provocative claim that she's already the face of the NBA. The mere fact that such a statement can be seriously discussed represents a seismic shift in basketball culture. As the debate rages on social media and sports talk shows, one thing remains certain: both LeBron and the basketball establishment have been put on notice. The game is changing, the power dynamics are shifting, and yesterday's assumptions about basketball hierarchy no longer apply. Whether you think this claim is brilliant or blasphemous, basketball's hierarchy has been turned upside down. Is Caitlin Clark truly the new face of the entire sport? While LeBron battles media critics,